Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. My name is Diana Skaya. Russian authorities aim to relocate nearly 114,000 citizens to occupied Ukrainian territories by 2045. This is what pro-Kremlin publication Vedomosti reported on March 17, citing government plans for the development of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson Oblast. Meanwhile, Ukrainian and U.S. negotiators have begun a new round of peace talks in Florida, aiming to find a diplomatic way to end Russia's war in Ukraine. I'm joined by Yuriy Kamelchuk, Ukrainian MP at the Servant of the People Party. Yuriy, so glad to have you with us here on World Talks this morning here on TVP World. Yuriy, so do tell me, I really want to ask you about this report that came out. I mean, we're talking about here 114,000 citizens. We do understand it's coming from Russian, pro-Russian propaganda publication. But I mean, how are Russian authorities using forced conscription, this is what I want to hear from you, to control the population in these areas?
I think it's not something new. They always do the same during the Second War, during the Soviet-occupied time of Ukraine from 1922, and before that. It was the same politics. They just threatening people in the communities. They try to raise the fear of the Russian power, and they just afraid to be to go in jail or somehow to be beaten. That's what helps them to control the people. Because nothing can change the mind. They know that they live in their own homes, they live in their own country, but it's temporarily occupied.
Mm-hmm. Yuriy, just give us a little bit of a brief there. How are those regions looking like right now, present day?
It's different from city to city, because in some cities there were some rebuilding actions. Of course, they rebuilt something and invite Russian citizens to Mariupol, like an example, or in other cities. But most of them, like you showing right now, just destroyed. They try to say that they get some cities, but actually they are destroyed, like Kupiansk, Mirnograd, and other cities. And a lot of districts in Mariupol were destroyed, and a lot of people there were buried inside the buildings, but nobody tell about that.
Do you think that the war now in the Middle East is having a larger impact here on Ukraine?
Of course, at the beginning, it can influence with two things. First, we have now raised prices for oil and gas, and Russia earned more money for the war. And now it's another try of Russia to sell gas and oil to Europe. I hope Europe will not agree with it, but Slovakian and Hungarian prime ministers are just trying to not again to buy gas and oil from Russia, but they inviting other European countries to cooperate with Russia. It's not normal. And of course, during these things in Middle East, we don't have exact negotiations between U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. Even if we have now meetings in Miami, but still don't have any results.
That's exactly my next point. I wanted to ask you, I mean, what's the goal? What are the main goals of the Ukrainian delegation that are now in Miami? What does Ukraine hope to achieve?
Of course, we hope to achieve some agreement to ceasefire, because it's a first aim to save people's life. And second, it's go forward with some negotiation with some points, not only talking about how we negotiate, because what I heard from some people during these 2 days, that we try again to find solution how to negotiate. So it means Russians try to stop the normal process of negotiations, and they don't want to hear about that. We will not go out from Donbass, or we will not go out from Zaporizhia region or another regions which they are interested in.
Two things. First of all, what do you think about right now, reportedly that it's Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, right, that are leading these negotiations? I mean, previously we've seen Witkoff being quite close in conversation, with Putin. He's been to Russia. How does that make Ukrainians feel on the possible outcome of these talks this time around? And I'll ask you straight up, do you think that because of the fact that Ukraine sent a team of experts to the Middle East regarding drones and anti-drone systems, do you think it's going to actually give leverage to them right now in these talks in Miami?
I think in a long distance time, it will, of course, make some change for attitude of U.S. to Ukraine, because when we help their partners, they will understand that we can help U.S. Of course, of the Trump's ego, he cannot he cannot agree that Ukraine can help such a big country like U.S. But actually, he don't understand that we have new technologies, that we have innovations in anti-drone systems. So we actually can help. That's why representatives from the Middle East countries came to Ukraine and asked about that.
Yuri, you did say, Trump's ego as one, but I want to ask you, what are some of the other challenges this time around, or sticking points that you expect that could actually emerge during this round of talks in Miami? Or is there something that you've been hearing that... What kind of
Sorry, it was a bad connection.
What kind of other challenges can we expect, or that may be coming out of these talks that are currently ongoing in Miami?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we will not see some new challenges only in a matter of time, because when we continue in the war, people continue dying. We still have military captivities. We still have bombing for Ukrainian cities and infrastructure, energy infrastructure. So every day it's a matter of people's life. That's the main challenge. Other challenges, it's not a problem for us, because we can make more actions to find a solution between Ukraine and Russia, how to start this ceasefire. It's not a problem for us to start any time this ceasefire if we will have some guarantees from U.S. or other countries they can help in this situation, and they can be inspectors of these ceasefires.
Yuri, earlier on, I asked you about how this Iran war is affecting Ukraine. Of course, you did mention that Russia may be gaining from this, particularly because of the spike in oil prices, and now, Russia being the advantageous one. Let me ask you this, though. How are Russia's allies, like Iran, like China, helping possibly prop up the economy in occupied territories? Is this something that you've been witnessing?
Yes, of course. I think from the beginning of the full-scale invasion, China actually have a position that they don't care who will be who will rule this territory, because they are interested in logistic ways. They are interested in in other natural resources that are on the territory of Ukraine. So they, of course, are interested in helping Iran and helping Russia. Actually, in some covered negotiations with Iran, China help some oil ships to get to China to get this oil and gas from Iran, and of course they always helping Russia with suppliers, with oil and gas suppliers from Russia. They always buying it, and that's why Russia have the money. So of course it's not directly helping occupied territories gaining still gain the power of Russia in this territory, but they actually giving money and they giving possibilities to Russia to continue controlling this territory, because when people didn't get any money for military things or other civil things in occupied territories, they will not continue doing this.
Yuriy, Russia doesn't seem to be participating directly in these talks. How realistic do you think that the talks in Miami are actually this time around going to lead to a concrete or successful peace plan?
I hope that after this special military operation in Iran, we will continue our concrete negotiations with U.S. about military guarantees for the future, and I hope it will continue. It will continue the supporting for Ukraine in military field, because we still need more rockets for Patriots. We still more air defense system for this. And after that, I think after the military operation in Iran, I think we need maybe a few months to go to the ceasefire point and start another part of Ukrainians' life in peace.
Thank you so much, Yuriy Kamelchuk, Ukrainian MP at the Servant of the People Party, for being my guest here today on World Talks. And that's all for this edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next time.